Hey, you. Yeah, you. You want to win this week? Yeah? You want to win your fantasy football matchup? Well, guess what? You're in the right place.
What's up, Wolverines? I'm Alfredo Diaz.
And I'm Asian Fraga. And in case you didn't know, welcome to Waiver.
This week's special guest host is Lucas Fernandez. And Lucas, we're happy to have you.
I'm happy to be here.
And
Hope you are.
Dribble's first show with us, so we're excited. But last week, we didn't have a show.
Unfortunately, this is my cue. So, poor Alfredito had a little bit of a fever going on. So we weren't able to get the show off, mainly because of complications. But that being said, the show last week was a wash anyways. But hey, Fredo.
Going back 2 weeks now.
You would have won the crown because of your amazing, oh so fantastic takes. And now you will be rewarded for such.
Thank you, Fraga. This is the crown from 2 weeks ago. Not 4-2, and not going to lie to you, Fraga, you got to step it up. You're getting outgained 1-5, and odds aren't looking good for you for the rest of the year.
Uh-oh.
But let's get straight into our pickups of the week. Dribble, who are you picking up off the waiver wire?
My pickup of the week is easily Pat Freiermuth. In the last 3 games, he's had at least 12 fantasy points and over 6 targets. He's a little bit touchdown dependent, but he showed that he can get it done without the touchdowns.
Un poquito, like 2 touchdowns. How many fantasy points did he have last year?
21.
21.
But he had 13 2 weeks ago without any touchdowns.
But that being said, I do think that Patty here can be an excellent pickup, not even as a depth purpose. He's a potential starter at this point because the targets he's getting, especially with Big Ben's weak arm, it's sky's the limit for his targets.
The nerve on someone to say that when their starting quarterback is Jacoby Brissett. But as the resident Steelers fan, I would like to say that Pat Freiermuth, second-round pick of the organization, is really the embodiment of Heath Miller now with the blocking downfield. We saw him blocking for Deontay Johnson on a run. And the red zone prowess that I think he's going to continue to exhibit for the rest of the year. I think we can expect a good 0.67 touchdowns a game, which at the end of the day, for a tight end spot that you picked up already in week 10, it's a great pickup.
Yeah, he was drafted in the second round for a reason. And hopefully this will kind of cement his role in the offense.
And even more so, Chase Claypool getting hurt. If Eric Ebron doesn't play this week, I would be confident to start him in any 10 to 12 team league.
Yeah. He was ranked the second rookie tight end for a reason, and he's showing why.
Well, Kyle Pitts is a receiver, not a tight end, but anyways. Okay. Fraga, who are you picking off the waiver wire this week?
Did we already mention second round pick? Because let's hop back on that train. My pickup of the week is Elijah Moore. Elijah Moore is a player, that I've already craved about on this show. Elijah Moore is a very talented receiver coming out of Ole Miss. He was taken at the top, not the bottom like Patty, but he was taken towards the top of the second round. And he is a very, very exciting player to watch. He's an all-around player. He can be used. He was seen getting carries out of the backfield. He's obviously going to line up at the slot at that shifty 5'10" height and those really quick legs he has. And he's coming off an 8-target week and 27.4 fantasy points. And he plays against the Bills. And although he is a very talented receiver, he's not quite the number 1 option yet, so he's not going to have to deal with Tre'Davious White as of right now.
I agree, and at the end of the day, I think that we finally saw the breakout performance. I had drafted him in a couple leagues and was a little bit discouraged with the production I was seeing. Dropped him, but I'm regretting that a little bit now. One of my few errors on the year. His first 2 touchdowns ever coming in the same game. I think we can see more of the same by the greatest backup quarterbacks of all time. And going into my pickup of the week, we're going to stay with receiver. It's Darnell Mooney. Darnell Mooney, also known as of now, the most productive receiver on the Bears offense. And you probably wouldn't have believed that if I would have told you before the year. But Allen Robinson has unfortunately not panned out.
He's failed me.
But Darnell Mooney, more than 5 targets in all but 1 game. He had a great Monday Night Football with 2 touchdowns. I think he's turning into Justin Fields' favorite target, as well as Cole Kmet. And I wouldn't deny the fact that he might be a decent flex for the rest of the year.
Well, if there's anything that this Bears offense proves to me, is that Justin Fields does not like throwing to top 10 receivers. Allen Robinson has not gotten I don't think he's had a single game over 5 targets this year, which is horrendous. But hey, at least Darnell Mooney is producing, and he could be that guy on the Bears offense.
If you would have told me that last week, Fredo, maybe I would have won my game.
Well, and now actually he's going into the bye week, which means that there might actually be less hype to pick him up. It'll be a great option for the rest of the year. Look forward past just 1 week when dealing with the waiver wire. Absolutely. But next week is just as important. Dribble, who you starting across all your formats?
I've got Jerry Jeudy, the Broncos receiver, coming off a pretty nasty ankle injury. He's slowly been getting put back more into the offense. In his first game, he had 4 targets. Second game, 8, and I expect another uptick in that offense. And coming out of the draft last year, he was known as one of the best route runners to ever come out of the draft. So we expect him to get open, and I expect Teddy Bridgewater to get him the ball.
I don't necessarily think it's a hot take to say that Jerry Jeudy is already among the elite route runners in the league. He has more than enough, I think just his rookie year, proved how good of a route runner he was. But now he's, for the most part, fixed his dropping issues he had last year, and he's really been able to just sustain that possible wide receiver 2 that he has on the rest of the year.
And the Broncos seem like a team that's going to be throwing the ball a lot, again, coming back from injury, and I think the Jerry Jeudy in space is a sight that defenders don't want to see. They're going to get him incorporated at all aspects, all levels of the field, and I do think that he's going to be a solid wide receiver for the rest of the year.
Amen. But did we talk about the Broncos? Because let's hop back on that train. My start of the week is Javonte Williams. Javonte Williams was another second-round pick. That's crazy. A lot of second-round picks this episode. But Javonte Williams was a second-round pick, which means they trust him. They even traded up to get him. They like Javonte. The only issue with Javonte, that little pest named Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon, for some horrible, disgusting reason, is taking away all the goal line touches for Javonte Williams. But that being said, Javonte still had 17 carries for 111 yards against the team they played last week, against the Cowboys. The Cowboys. And this next week, he has the flags are green because he goes against Philly.
Yeah, and Javonte Williams, you've seen he's been hyper efficient with the touches he has been getting, but don't let the fact that it's a 2-person backfield scare you away from him. He's been incredibly efficient, and again, he's still getting more than 10 carries a game. I'm comfortable with starting him. My only issue with Javonte Williams is that the Dolphins were not able to draft him.
Amen. I was heartbroken.
The Broncos, they traded up just
right before the Dolphins.
Just to toy with our emotions. It was a tough draft night when I saw Javonte Williams off the board. Again, actually, I have 2 problems with Javonte Williams. He also ran for 250 yards on our Hurricanes, but we'll let the past be the past and move on.
Don't bring up that sadness.
I'm going to stay with running back. And Farrell, can you tell me who leads the NFL in touchdowns?
James Conner.
It's your boy, James Conner.
I was going to say Sam Darnold.
11 touchdowns over the last 7 games. James Conner is a success story out of success stories. I mean, in a country full of them. You know, obviously we have the comeback story that he has, the fact that he almost died of cancer, and you know he is a fresh start with the Cardinals this year, playing behind the bad Steelers O-line last year, and he's really been able to rally it up in the past couple of weeks. He's getting all of the red zone work in that offense. They're not trying to put Kyler Murray into danger, and without Chase Edmonds in the game, his passing work game is going up a lot too.
Yeah, I think James Conner's an RB1 play when Chase Edmonds is not in the picture, because Chase Edmonds takes up all the work going up to the field, and Conner just takes that little touchdown. But with Edmonds out of the game, Conner gets a ridiculous amount of work.
Yeah, not only that, Edmonds was such a huge factor to James. They contradicted each other. They
took away from each other.
Exactly. They hurt each other's playing styles. And now with one of them out, the other is just like set up for success. And James Conner can really, going forward, be really a solid RB2, RB1 going forward. He has no excuses. He's behind an okay offensive line. He's going to get more receiving work now that Chase Edmonds is out. And especially the goal line, there's no competition whatsoever now.
And again, talented offense, the running back tends to thrive, especially when the passing game isn't so in sync. And again, we saw that Kyler Murray would vulture a bunch of touchdowns, especially into the red zone last year. I'm not expecting the same, especially with him dealing with an ankle injury. They know that he's going to be their franchise quarterback for years and years to come, and they're protecting him as such. which is why I expect James Conner to continue a healthy workload, especially inside the 20-yard line. But let's go straight into our sit of the week. And Dribble, who are you sitting across all formats?
My sit of the week is Damian Harris. Even though against Bill Belichick, you usually don't want to start their running backs, but this week especially, he's playing the Browns defense, which, as we know, the Browns are a top 5 rushing defense. And I just don't like the matchup at all. Damian Harris, he's really touchdown dependent to start, but I don't like in any way his matchup.
Yeah, I've always thought that he was touchdown dependent. No receiving work at all. We always talk about receiving work.
He's averaging not barely a target a game, I think. It's embarrassing, honestly, which is the only thing that's really keeping him out of being a sustainable start every week. And against the he's just not a good play this week.
Absolutely. And again, Browns defense is improving. We saw them. Joe Mixon actually had a decent day around them, but not efficiency-wise, only because he scored 2 touchdowns. Damian Harris, definitely a boomer bust guy this week.
Well, my sit of the week is a player who's recently been showing out, kind of sat back a little bit last week, but is projected to come back this week, and that is James Robinson, the undrafted guy. He's the lead back for Jacksonville as of right now, and how many times do we need to rat on Jacksonville? Except for Josh Allen. I love Josh Allen. But
Which Josh Allen are you talking about, though?
Dude, I'm a Dolphins fan. Which one do you think? Anyways, James Robinson plays against a tough Colts rush defense. So tough, in fact, that they're top 3 in giving up the least amount of points to running backs. Not only that, James Conner is James Robinson, same first name. James Robinson is behind an awful offensive line, And not only that, mind you, he's coming off of an injury that's really going to affect his play, and I think they're going to be more pass-oriented this game. So,
I mean, the Jags have definitely been pass-happy. They scored a total of 9 points in their upset win. It's not something to look forward to. And again, not a great matchup. I don't think that he's going to be able to produce as efficiently as he's been able to. He's an undrafted guy, and I love his story, but he might be a sit this week.
I agree.
And my sit of the week is one that's a little bit painstaking for me. One of my personal favorites is DJ Moore. Now, I've always kind of liked the Panthers. I've always found them as like a little brother team that anyone can root for. DJ Moore, since having 13 targets in Week 6, has only gone down from 13 to 10 to 8 to 7. And that's still a decent workload, but my, is Sam Darnold horrendous. I called him as my start of the week in, I think it was Week 3. He had a great game, and then he fell off a cliff.
Completely.
He has had more interceptions than touchdowns over the past 6 weeks, and DJ Moore has unfortunately suffered because of it. I think he's going to continue to have about 50% catch rate on his targets, and maybe he breaks one big, but I'm not expecting it this week.
I just don't think that offense can function without a healthy McCaffrey. You've seen the earlier weeks when McCaffrey was healthy, everybody on that offense was producing. Even DJ Moore was producing at
Robbie Anderson. Sorry, excuse me. That was
Except
a weird
for
cough.
Robbie-
That was a
Robbie-
weird
except for
cough.
Robbie
That was
Anderson.
a really weird cough.
Yeah. And
But-
with a healthy CMC coming back, I think you could see that offense improving again and possibly DJ Moore.
The thing about CMC being back, though, is that as a receiving back,
He
that also takes
a
away
little bit away.
targets, like a little bit of.
Yeah, I know that, but the entire efficiency of the offense will improve.
Well, I understand that, but when he comes out, not only is Sam Darnold just playing like complete, utter bottom 1 quarterback in the league.
He shouldn't even be starting.
Not bottom 1, because at the end of the day, I do think that he's better than a couple around the league.
Not really.
Not
I
really,
don't. I
yeah.
genuinely don't think so. I was one of the guys that was like, you know what, give Sammy a chance, and now I'm like, you know what, take that away, get him out of here.
Yeah, I get him out of there because at the end, he's not producing recently, and it's really hurting DJ Moore. But do we have any other advice before going into Week 10 of the NFL season?
Yeah, get a pillow, get a blanket, get a lot of cold ice cream for Thursday Night Football, where the Miami Dolphins will lose to the Baltimore Ravens.
You think
Hopefully it's not too bad.
You think we get a repeat of that 2019 season opener where they lost? So what was it, 59-0?
We don't like
Dude.
bringing up those memories.
Dude,
Please.
that's too far, man.
I'm sorry, but definitely excited for Week 10. I don't even know how we got to Week 10. Seems like the NFL season's breezing by, but well, thank you guys for joining us. Remember to catch us next time on the Waiver Wire.